Okay, so for this deep dive, you've given me a really interesting collection of stuff to go through. It's excerpts from an AQA GCSE guide, and it's all about technology and business.
Uh,
And basically, what we're going to do is try to pull out like the most useful information
okay.
so we can give you a clear picture of how technology is like totally changing the way businesses work.
Right.
So it's not just like, oh, here's a computer, use this. It's more about how technology is like woven into everything businesses do these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, think about it. Like, even something as simple as buying groceries online or, using a banking app,
Right.
it's all powered by technology.
Exactly.
And, even huge companies like Amazon, they're using, like, robots in their warehouses to,
Yeah.
like, pick and pack orders.
It's great.
It's amazing how much has changed.
The guide actually starts off with a really simple definition of technology in business.
So,
And it basically says it's all the tools, systems, and methods that businesses use to achieve their goals.
right.
So it's everything from computers and the internet to things like specialized software and automation.
So it's kind of a broad spectrum.
Yeah, it's pretty broad. But
Yeah.
it's interesting. The guide doesn't just treat technology as a separate topic.
Oh, really?
It's more like a theme that runs through all these different areas of business.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's not just relevant to one specific department, right?
Oh, right.
It's like this underlying force that impacts everything.
Yeah.
For example, the guide mentions influences on business, right? And technology is a huge external influence there.
Oh, okay.
It's up there with like economic conditions and legal changes.
That's the deal.
Yeah, a really big deal. And then, when you think about business operations, how things are actually made and services are delivered,
Yeah,
obviously technology is a major player there.
for sure.
And marketing, too. I mean,
Wow.
think about social media and e-commerce.
Right.
They're all driven by technology.
It's completely changed the game.
Completely. And even when the guide talks about business in the real world, it considers how technology impacts the whole competitive landscape.
I see.
And get this, even areas like finance and human resources rely heavily on technology.
Wow, so it really is everywhere.
Everywhere. So the point is, if you want to understand how businesses work today,
Yeah.
you absolutely have to understand the role of technology.
Right.
It's not just an optional thing anymore.
Yeah, it's essential.
Absolutely essential. So let's dive into some specific examples.
Okay.
And let's start with marketing, because the guide really goes into detail about how technology's transformed promotion.
Makes sense.
I mean, think about it. We have the internet, social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, YouTube.
Right?
These are all essential tools now for any business that wants to get their message out there.
Absolutely.
It's interesting, the guide talks about targeted advertising.
Yeah.
Have you ever, searched for something online,
Oh, yeah. All time.
and then suddenly you start seeing ads for it everywhere?
It's like they're reading my mind.
I know, it's kind of creepy, but that's targeted advertising.
Yeah.
It's all because businesses can track what we do online.
That's pretty powerful.
It is powerful. And then there's viral marketing, which is, when companies create content that people want to share.
Oh, yeah, like those funny videos or memes that go viral.
Exactly. And then you have influencer marketing, which
Yeah.
is basically using people with a large online following to promote products.
So like celebrities or YouTubers with lots of followers.
Exactly. It's a whole new world of marketing, all thanks to technology.
What does the guide say about the benefits of social media marketing specifically?
Well, the advantages are pretty clear, right? You
Yeah.
can reach a huge audience.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive compared to traditional advertising.
Right.
And you can target very specific groups of people.
So it's very efficient.
Very efficient. But of course, there are also some challenges.
What kind of challenges?
Well, creating good content that people will actually engage with.
Yeah.
It takes time and effort.
That's true.
And there's always the risk of annoying people if your ads are too intrusive or just not well done.
Yeah, you don't want to bombard people with stuff they don't care about.
Right. It's all about finding that balance.
Definitely.
Now, another big thing the guide talks about is e-commerce,
Okay.
which is basically just buying and selling online.
Right.
And it's grown massively in recent years.
It's huge now.
I mean, you've got giants like Amazon and eBay, ASOS,
Yeah.
but even traditional stores have online shops now, too.
Right.
So what's changed because of e-commerce? Well, one big thing is that businesses can now reach customers all over the world.
That's a huge advantage.
It's a global marketplace now.
Yeah.
Plus, setting up an online store can be cheaper than opening a physical one.
Right, because you don't have all those overhead costs like rent.
Exactly. But there's more competition now, too, right?
Oh, yeah, because anyone can set up an online shop.
Exactly. And so you really need to have a good website.
Yeah.
It has to be user-friendly.
Easy to navigate.
Right. And your order processing and delivery systems have to be really efficient.
Otherwise, customers will just go somewhere else.
Exactly. So e-commerce has created a lot of opportunities,
Uh-huh.
but it also means businesses have to up their game.
For sure.
Now, let's talk about product development,
Okay.
because the guide makes the point that technology isn't just about selling things.
Right.
It's also about how products are designed and created.
That's interesting.
And one specific technology they mention is computer-aided design, or CAD.
Yeah.
Basically, what it allows designers to do is create really detailed 3D models of their products on a computer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this makes it so much easier to test different designs and make changes before they actually build anything physical.
So it's like a virtual prototype.
Exactly. So it speeds up the whole design process and can lead to better quality products.
That makes sense.
And then the guide talks about market research,
Yeah.
which is, all about understanding your customers in the market.
Right.
And technology's made this a lot easier.
How so?
Well, for one thing, we have online surveys now,
Yeah.
which are a quick and cheap way to gather feedback from a lot of people.
Right.
And social media is a goldmine of information.
Really?
Yeah, because people are constantly talking about what they like and don't like.
I guess that's true.
And then there are these sophisticated data analytics tools.
Like what?
Things like Google Analytics, which tracks website activity, and CRM software, which manages customer interactions.
So businesses can actually make sense of all this data.
Exactly. They can use it to figure out what products are popular, what prices people are willing to pay, what marketing messages resonate.
It's like having a crystal ball.
Pretty much. Okay, so let's move on to how technology is impacting business operations.
Right.
The actual, day-to-day running of a business.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the guide starts with production processes.
Okay.
And the increasing role of automation.
Makes sense.
I mean, think about robots on assembly lines, things like that.
Right, like in car factories.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide also talks about computer-aided manufacturing, or CAM, which is basically using computers to control machinery in the production process.
Okay.
And then there's computer-integrated manufacturing, CIM, which aims for a fully automated and integrated production environment.
So it's like taking CAM to the next level.
Exactly. And what are the main benefits of all this automation? Well, one big one is increased efficiency.
Right, because machines can work 24/7.
Exactly. And they don't need breaks.
True.
Plus, they can produce things more consistently.
With less error.
Right, less human error involved. And that leads to higher quality products.
So it's a win-win.
Pretty much. The guide then goes on to talk about efficiency and productivity more broadly.
Okay.
And it explains how technology can automate all those time-consuming admin tasks.
Like what kind of tasks?
Things like invoicing, scheduling appointments, things like that.
So it frees up employees to do other things.
Exactly. They can focus on more strategic and creative work.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. The guide also introduces this concept of Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, or ERP systems.
ERP.
Basically, these are software systems that integrate all the different parts of a business.
Like what, specifically?
Well, things like finance, production, human resources, you name it.
Oh, wow.
It's all connected.
So everyone has access to the same information.
Exactly. And this makes communication between departments a lot smoother.
Right.
And it helps streamline workflows.
So it's all about efficiency.
Efficiency is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about supply chain management,
Okay.
which is basically the process of getting goods from raw materials to the end customer.
It's a complex process.
Very complex, and technology plays a crucial role here.
How so?
Well, for one thing, technology helps businesses track their inventory.
So they know what they have in stock.
Exactly, and where it is. It also helps manage the movement of goods.
So like from the factory to the warehouse to the store.
Exactly, and it facilitates communication with suppliers.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. And the guide gives some specific examples of technologies used in supply chain management.
Like what?
Things like RFID tags and barcoding.
What do those do?
Basically, they allow businesses to track products as they move through the supply chain,
I see.
so they can see where everything is at any given time.
That's pretty impressive.
It is impressive.
Right.
And it helps them maintain the right stock levels.
So they don't run out of anything.
Right. And it also allows them to respond quickly to any disruptions.
Like if there's a problem with the supplier.
Exactly. Or a sudden surge in demand. And the last thing the guide talks about in terms of operations is quality control.
Okay.
And technology is really important here, too.
In what way?
Well, now we have automated systems that can inspect products for defects during the manufacturing process.
So it's like having a robot quality inspector
Pretty much. And there are monitoring systems that can track the performance of equipment.
to make sure everything's running smoothly
Exactly. And all of this helps ensure that products are of a high quality.
and that they meet the required standards.
Exactly. And it also helps reduce waste and save money in the long run.
So it's good for business and good for consumers.
Exactly. All right, so let's shift gears now and talk about finance.
Okay.
Because technology has had a huge impact on how businesses manage their money.
For sure.
I mean, think about online banking.
Yeah.
It's become the norm for businesses to handle their payments and receipts electronically.
It's so much faster and more convenient.
Right. And it's generally more secure, too.
And then there are all those digital payment systems.
Yeah, like credit and debit cards, Apple Pay, Google Pay.
Contactless payments, too.
It's all about making transactions faster, easier, and more secure.
And giving customers more options.
Exactly. You want to make it as convenient as possible for people to pay you.
Definitely.
And the guide also talks about how accounting software has revolutionized financial analysis.
How so?
Well, these programs can track income and expenses,
Okay.
monitor cash flow, and generate financial reports automatically.
So businesses don't have to do it all manually anymore.
Exactly. It saves a ton of time and reduces the risk of errors.
It's a big help.
A huge help.
And then there's fintech.
Fintech. That's a whole other world.
What is it exactly?
It's basically the use of technology to improve financial services.
So, like, what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, you've got things like digital payment platforms, robo-advisors, online lending platforms, and even cryptocurrencies.
That's a pretty wide range.
It is. And the impact of fintech is huge. It's making financial services more accessible.
To more people.
Yeah, to more people and businesses. And it's making them more efficient and often cheaper, too.
It's really shaking things up in the financial world.
It really is. It's like a whole new era of finance. All right, let's move on to human resources
Okay.
and how technology is changing the way businesses recruit, train, and manage their employees.
Sounds interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's start with recruitment. I mean, these days, most businesses use online job portals, professional networking sites like LinkedIn, and company websites to advertise their vacancies.
That's the go-to method now.
Yeah, because you can reach a much wider pool of candidates.
And it's a lot faster than traditional methods.
Way faster. Plus, you have things like applicant tracking systems, or ATS, which help manage all those applications.
So they don't get overwhelmed.
Exactly. And then, for interviews, you've got video conferencing tools like Zoom and Skype.
Oh, yeah, those are really popular now.
Super popular, especially for remote interviews.
So technology's made the whole recruitment process a lot more efficient.
Massively more efficient. And it saves businesses a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about training,
Okay.
because technology's changed the game here, too.
In what way?
Well, we have online learning platforms now,
Uh-huh.
e-learning modules, webinars, things like that.
Yeah, those are great for flexibility.
Exactly. Employees can learn at their own pace.
And from anywhere.
Exactly. And it's often a lot more cost-effective than traditional training methods.
For sure.
And you know what's really cool?
What?
Some companies are even using virtual reality and augmented reality for training simulations.
Wow, that's pretty high tech.
It is, but it's super effective, especially for teaching complex or dangerous tasks.
I can see that.
It's like a safe environment to learn and practice.
Yeah.
Okay, so communication within businesses has also been transformed by technology.
Obviously.
I mean, email is still a mainstay,
Yeah.
but now we have instant messaging platforms.
Like Slack or Microsoft Teams.
Right, and video conferencing
Yeah.
and all sorts of collaborative tools.
Like shared documents.
Exactly, and project management software.
So teams can work together more effectively.
Yeah, exactly, even if they're not in the same location.
Which is essential these days with so many people working remotely.
Absolutely. And the guide also talks about employee management systems.
Okay.
Things like human resource information systems, or HRS.
HRIS.
Basically, these are software packages that centralize all the employee data.
So things like payroll information.
Yeah, benefits, attendance records, performance reviews, all that stuff.
I see.
And it just makes life a lot easier for HR departments.
Because everything's in one place.
Exactly. So they can spend less time on admin tasks and more time on strategic initiatives.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Now, the guide also provides a really useful overview of the general advantages and disadvantages of technology in business.
Let's hear about the advantages first.
Okay, well, for starters, Technology can increase efficiency and productivity.
Right, that's the big one.
It can enhance communication and collaboration, improve data management and analysis.
Got
It
it.
allows businesses to reach wider markets through e-commerce, provide better customer service.
Uh-huh.
It can save money in the long run, create more opportunities for innovation, and offer greater flexibility in work arrangements.
So it's pretty good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
But what about the disadvantages?
Well, of course, there are some potential downsides. Right.
One big one is the cost,
Yeah, technology can be expensive.
especially the initial investment.
Right.
And there are security risks to consider too, like cyber attacks and data breaches.
That's a big concern these days.
It is. And there's the potential for businesses to become too reliant on technology.
So if something goes wrong, it could be a big problem.
Exactly. And then there's the constant need for updates and maintenance.
Yeah, technology's always changing.
Always changing. And then there's the issue of job displacement, with automation potentially replacing some jobs.
That's a valid concern.
It is. And then, some people worry that technology can lead to less personal interactions with customers.
Like everything's done online or through automated systems.
Exactly. And of course, there are privacy concerns too.
So it's not all sunshine and roses.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
It's important to be aware of both the good and the bad.
for sure.
The guide then looks at how technology impacts different types of businesses,
Okay.
starting with small businesses.
What does it say about them? Well, it suggests that technology can really level the playing field for small businesses.
How so?
Well, things like e-commerce and digital marketing,
Yeah.
they allow small businesses to compete with much larger companies.
Because they can reach a wider audience.
Exactly. And there are all those affordable cloud-based tools and software available now.
Right, so they don't need to make huge investments.
Exactly. But small businesses also face challenges, of course.
Like what?
Things like cybersecurity, for example,
Yeah, that's a big one.
and making sure their staff have the necessary digital skills.
Right.
But overall, technology has been a huge boon for small businesses.
What about large corporations?
Well, the guide says that large corporations rely heavily on technology for all sorts of things.
Makes sense.
I mean, they have complex operations to manage.
Yeah.
They need to communicate with people all over the world,
Mhm.
and they often have large-scale production processes.
Right.
So they invest a lot in research and development.
To stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And they make extensive use of automation and AI.
It's essential for them to be efficient.
Absolutely. But they face challenges too.
Like what?
Well, one big one is integrating new technologies with their existing systems.
Yeah, that can be a nightmare.
It can be. And they also have to adapt quickly to new developments.
Because the tech world moves so fast.
It does. And then there are online retailers,
Okay.
which are businesses that operate primarily online.
Right, like Amazon.
Exactly. And for them, technology is absolutely essential.
I mean, it's their whole business model.
Exactly. They need the internet, they need e-commerce platforms, digital marketing tools.
Mhm.
They use technology to personalize the shopping experience, recommend products, provide customer service through chatbots.
It's all about creating a seamless online experience.
Exactly. And they need to have really efficient logistics systems.
To get those orders delivered quickly.
Right. And robust data security measures to protect customer information.
That's crucial.
Absolutely crucial. So for online retailers, staying ahead of the technology curve is vital for survival.
They can't afford to fall behind.
They can't. The guide finishes by focusing specifically on e-commerce and digital marketing.
Okay.
And it basically emphasizes that e-commerce is now a fundamental part of doing business.
It's not just an option anymore.
Right. It allows businesses to reach a global audience, operate 24/7, and potentially lower their costs.
And digital marketing is essential for reaching those customers online.
Exactly. And that includes things like SEO, social media marketing, email marketing, and pay-per-click advertising.
So it's a whole toolkit of digital strategies.
It is. And the point is, if you want to succeed in e-commerce,
Yeah.
you need to have a solid digital marketing strategy in place.
No doubt about it.
So to wrap up this deep dive, I think the main takeaway is that technology isn't just a tool that businesses use.
Right.
It's really reshaping the entire landscape of business.
It's changing how things are done at every level.
Exactly. Whether we're talking about marketing, operations, finance, or human resources,
Technology is everywhere.
everywhere. And understanding this relationship between technology and business is crucial.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a student preparing for exams, a professional trying to stay ahead of the curve, or just someone who's curious about how the world works.
It's essential knowledge for anyone in the 21st century.
Totally agree. So here's a final thought for you to ponder.
Okay.
We've seen how much technology has already changed the business world, right?
Yeah.
But given how fast technology is evolving, what do you think the next big disruption will be?
Mm, that's a good question.
What new business models will emerge? What unexpected challenges will businesses face? Will we see even further integration between the physical and digital worlds? It's fascinating to think about, and the answers will undoubtedly shape the future of business in profound ways.